Welcome to the Switchblade Sisters Social Club. Yet another true crime podcast where two middle-aged friends exploit their worst fears for your entertainment. You're welcome.
For more information, find us on Instagram and Facebook or check out our website at www.switchbladesisterssocialclub.com. Audience discretion advised.
This is Switchblade Sisters Social Club, where two friends exploit their worst fears for your entertainment. You're welcome. I'm Dee. This is Emma.
And I'm Emma. Hi.
Emma. Can you believe this is episode, I want to say 12?
No, really?
Yep.
Wow.
Episode 12 of season 4. Season 4 being the season that you joined me on this podcast. It goes so fast, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Time
it really does.
Does fly when you're having fun.
I mean, where the fuck is 2024 gone?
Oh God, don't. I mean, this episode is coming out in the sort of week before Christmas. I think that snuck up on most of us.
Yeah, I literally started looking at Christmas presents today. I was like, oh, shit, I always leave it to the last minute. I'm such a twat.
Oh, so I get a lot of Christmas anxiety. Part of the reason why I've never really liked Christmas is because I get so much anxiety around mainly the gifts and getting ready and doing all the things, but also trying to finish all the work you need to do before the end of the year and feeling like you're starting the next year in a good place and blah, blah, blah. So one of the things I started doing a few years back is literally sorting out Christmas presents. Like they're done by the end of November.
You're so organized. I need that.
It's just because otherwise, every time I hear a Christmas song, you know, you go into a shop or on the bus or in a car, every time I turn on the TV and there's a fucking toy advert, I'm freaking out about like, fuck, I need to get all the presents sorted. And this way, it's just like by the time that gets too intense, I'm done. And it just makes me feel a lot more relaxy.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't even have my own kids or anything to do Christmas shit for, you know, like,
yeah.
And when I say buy Christmas presents, I mainly mean for my dog.
I mean, she's very special and deserves it.
I don't want to say it too loud because she's in the room, but she's getting an advent calendar.
Nice.
All right, so in other things that make us anxious, do you want to talk about murder?
I mean, why not? And also, I just wanted to say, if you, our sexy listeners, have not listened to the last episode, it's a fucking, oh my God. We absolutely loved recording it and speaking to Lou. And
so we interviewed Louis Ferranti, who's come out with his second installment of his trilogy, Borgata, on the history of the mafia. And he's just fascinating, isn't he? Like, I could just sit there and listen. I hope he comes to the UK soon because I want to go and spend an evening in a pub by an open fire with a pint in my hand, just listening to his stories.
Honestly, I had so many questions, but I was so conscious of time. I was like, oh, I want to ask this. And like the proper law nerd in me came out and I was like, I want to know everything. Tell me everything.
He's so well informed. He's so interesting. He's funny with it, which is a lovely mix, isn't it? He's so well spoken in that when he's talking to you about these things, he manages to relay them in a clear, concise, interesting way. He's just amazing. And also the life that man has led.
Yeah, he's got some stories, that's for sure.
I mean, like, who does this? You're talking about the Ninja Turtles and he just mentions in passing, oh yeah, the heroin drug lord that I was in prison with bought the rights for the Ninja Turtles in South America. It's like, okay.
With drug money and then got it taken off him.
Yeah. You know, just fascinating. Yeah. What a guy.
I just love the fact that he wanted to date us both and said that he was man enough for us both.
I mean, bless him. That's the one thing that he said that's probably a little bit factually incorrect. It was more out of naivety because no one can handle the both of us. Find me one person.
That's very true.
But admirable that he wanted to try.
Yes.
And we are open to that experiment because we adore him. yeah, so go check out that episode. It was so much fun to record, and I hope people enjoy listening to it as much as we enjoyed talking to
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
But yeah, this episode, you're presenting one to
yeah,
me.
I am.
Woo.
And so the basis that I chose this one on was I was looking for murders. I mean, this sounds so awful. Like, don't
Looking
ever
for
check my
murders.
Google. Yeah, don't ever check my Google history. Um, Around us. I know obviously we covered, or you covered at first, like Levi Belfield and all of that. So I just wondered, like, I'm sure there were other stories around us. So I came across this case, and it's been called the Towpath Murders, also known as the Thames Towpath Murders or the Teddington Towpath Murders. So
It's
yes, it is that
Tiddington.
close. Yeah.
Where's Tiddington?
No, Teddington.
Teddington! Fuck!
Yeah.
I know where
Yeah.
that is. It's 3 minutes that way. Shit.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
something super creepy, isn't there, about reading about crimes and stuff and actually knowing the street names that are mentioned or whatever. You're
Yeah.
just like, or the pubs that are mentioned because you used to drink, you've drunk there or whatever. Oh my
Yeah.
God, Teddington. Fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
Am I
Yeah.
ready? I am ready because I'm back on the Rubus. Rubus is just a really, really nice wintry wine to drink, I've decided.
The chocolate wine, right? Yeah. Oh,
Rubus
need some of
chocolate
that.
wine.
Need some
Um,
of that. Haven't
maybe
had
you
that
need
for a
to
while.
wait to see if Santa brings you any hint,
Ah,
hint.
yes. That would be a great Christmas present
All
for
right.
anybody
Well,
who's interested.
mhm.
Okay, so this case, they are unfortunately a double murder, and it occurred upon a section of towpath, hence towpath murders, between Teddington Lock and Eel Pie Island, which, for people that don't know, is really, well, it's in Twickenham, really close to Richmond. Everyone knows Richmond. So this was on the 31st of May, 1953. I do actually have like a picture of a map for people who are
Great.
not around. So I will share my
And
screen.
I just want to say that is such a gorgeous stretch of the river. Like it's so lovely along there. There's basically parks all along it, pubs all along it. The Alexander Pope is amazing. The Anglers Pub on Teddington Lock, gorgeous. Like we go there all the time.
I know, I
Eel
know.
Pie
And
Island, we love it.
did you know about this? Because I
No,
didn't. Yeah.
no.
So hopefully you can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
So obviously Twickenham is here.
Yeah, I can see my house on this map. Yeah.
Obviously it knows. And this little stretch of like island here, that's Eel Pie Island.
Eel Pie
And
Island's
then
amazing because basically it's full of practicing artists. So you've got ceramicists, graphic designers, painters, mosaic people, mosaicians. I don't
yeah,
know.
I don't know what you call them.
Mosaicians. Um,
Mosaicions.
yeah, and that stretch of land there between that stretch of river between Eel Pie Island and where Emma's showing that goes down towards
Teddington.
Teddington, and it's just gorgeous.
Yeah. And for anybody that's interested, Richmond's kind of where Marble Hill is further
Yeah,
on. So like it would be up here.
yeah.
Yeah. So that is what we are looking at in that area. So sorry, bringing my notes back up. So the victims were two teenage girls named Christine Reed and Barbara Songhurst, and they were ambushed by a lone individual as they cycled to their respective homes in Hampton Hill and Teddington. Both girls were overpowered, then violently raped and murdered before their bodies were discarded in the Thames. So yeah, sorry, grim. The
At the same
murders,
time or separate instances?
no, same time. So they were cycling together home, and then they would have split off and gone to
Hmm.
separate ways, but yeah, they were together. So they became known as the towpath murders due to a towpath being both the location the victims were last seen alive and the site of their murder. The forensic methods used to link the perpetrator to both victims and the weapons used in the commission of the crime were described as one of Scotland Yard's most notable triumphs in a century. So bearing in mind this was 1953.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about how they actually had forensic evidence.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the afternoon, so this murder happened on the 31st of May. On the afternoon of Saturday, the 30th of May, 16-year-old Barbara Songhurst informed her parents of her intention to cycle from her Teddington home to spend the evening with her friend, 18-year-old Christine Reed, who lived nearby in Hampton Hill. Although Reed was 2 years older than Songhurst and the girls hailed from differing social backgrounds, they were the best of friends, having become acquainted through their shared love of jazz music and dancing approximately 1 year before. I know,
No,
I
I call
know.
bullshit. No one likes jazz.
Don't forget it was the 50s.
Okay, maybe people like jazz in the 50s, but now no one
Yeah,
genuinely likes it. They just say it to make themselves sound interesting.
yeah. They also both enjoyed cycling and had saved all of their money to buy bicycles. Reed
Oh,
had purchased a bicycle with money saved from her earnings as a machinist, and Songhurst had also recently purchased a new bicycle for £17, which is the equivalent of approximately £400 now. So a lot of money,
yeah.
with money earned via her employment as a chemist shop's assistant.
Bless. I love these
I
girls.
know, I know.
How
I do actually
cute.
have, pictures of them, so
Oh,
I will share my screen again. Du- du- du. Oh, hang on. I'm doing this really well. Sorry, I'm giving you editing.
nah, I'll leave it in. It makes us seem more relatable that we are human.
I don't know about that. Um, so yeah, I will share this one. So this is the two of them, and this was taken 2 weeks before their death.
Oh, I love them. Which one's which? Do you know?
I actually don't know. Although if I scroll up, I've just got one of Christine. Oh, so that's Christine. So
I think she's the
with
one on the
with her
left, isn't
bicycle.
she?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, bless. They look
No,
so cute. And you know
I
what? They look
know.
cute and fabulous
Yes. I think he would have done in the 50s. I'd like to have been alive in the 50s.
for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, just in America as well. You know, the whole Grease thing. I'd
Yeah,
like that.
rockabilly. I can see you as a rockabilly person.
Yeah. So again, so we're the day before, and in that afternoon, they cycled to a bebop concert that was held at York House in Twickenham,
Mm.
and several of their friends were also socializing there.
Can I just say, York
Several.
House is now the sort of one of the council buildings, and it is where I became British.
Oh, amazing!
Mhm.
That's amazing. I'm very
With a
happy
room
for that.
full of other Europeans who were terrified about what Brexit would mean for them, who became
Yeah,
British.
yeah,
But it's a lovely
brilliant.
building, really nice
Yes,
Japanese gardens, backs out onto the river where we have our naked ladies.
yeah.
We love our naked ladies. If you don't know what we're talking about, come to Twickenham and go see the naked ladies or Google the naked ladies. They're there 24/7.
I'm not
We
sure you
don't,
want to be Googling naked. Well, you might want to be Googling naked ladies. Who
I
knows?
think
Whatever floats your boat.
If you Google naked ladies Twickenham, you'll get a
Yeah.
picture of this statue which I'm referring to and possibly also pictures of you and me.
Let's move on.
Onwards. Back to the murder.
Yeah. So several hours later, they both left York House to visit a nearby cafe, and apparently Songhurst was dancing with an American soldier. Bless her. But then she later joined them at the cafe. So they left the cafe shortly before midnight. I mean, their parents are very liberal. I wasn't allowed out that late when I was 16.
Oh, I
I know
think
the
I
other one was
was.
18, but yeah, but we
Different
know the
time.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then they both cycled to Reed's home in Hampton Hill, and then Barbara spent the night there. So on the 31st of May, they both, obviously they're staying at Hampton Hill, and they ate breakfast and obviously had different clothes on that day. So they were wearing, it's important in terms of what they were wearing just because it's identifying them, a yellow cardigan and blue trousers. And they then returned to Christine's home, and Barbara changed into a tartan shirt, sorry, blue jeans, and a distinctive high waist, wide black belt with a large clasp buckle before informing her mother that she and Christine intended to cycle to Brighton. As you do. I know.
For the British
They
Heart
really like their
Foundation.
cycling.
They fucking love
Really,
their
really.
cycling.
Yeah.
I mean, what else are you going to do in 50s Britain? But
True.
also, I miss girly sleepovers. Can I have a sleepover with you one day soon?
100%.
Okay, but where we stay up all night in your bed and just gossip about boys.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All
Or
right.
just stay downstairs with the pups and watch Christmas movies.
Okay, yeah.
All right. So they then returned to Christine's house before at approximately 7:15 cycling to a section of the River Thames towpath between Teddington Lock and Petersham.
Hang on, have they cycled to Brighton and back by this point?
No, I don't think they went.
Oh, okay. I was going to say they're really fucking fast.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if they did, they wouldn't have been murdered. I know. So they went and met a load of other teenagers who were camping on the opposite side of the river, and they spent several hours at this location and apparently were playing catch and kiss. Bless them. I don't know how, I guess they know that from witnesses. So they left their friends at approximately 11:10 p.m. and one of the guys that was there lent one of the girls their cycle lamp because her bike didn't have one. And they watched the guys that were there, watched them cycle in the direction of Teddington Lock, where they came across an iron bridge en route to their homes. And the last individuals to see them were a young courting couple sitting alongside the towpath.
Can I bring up a picture of that bridge? Because 100% I know which one it is.
Oh, I've got it. I've got one.
Oh, okay, great. Because that is, so the Anglers Pub in Teddington, everyone needs to go there. It's fucking amazing. They do so many different events. It's got an amazing garden. It's so cool. The food there is amazing. The outdoor food is amazing. They have different menus inside and outside. The outdoor food is amazing, I'm going to say.
Yes, I agree with that.
But the outdoor space is so good. It's on Teddington Lock and it's just so lovely. That's actually not the bridge I thought.
Oh,
I thought it was talking about the bridge that you see from the Anglers.
no, this is the one. And actually, I think if I scroll down, yeah, this is where the police were looking for them and their bikes. So yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I was looking at this. Hang on. I'm going to show you. I was thinking of this bridge, you know?
Yeah. That's probably the most well-known one.
Yeah, and you've got the pub on the other side there, and it's just gorgeous. So you can have a drink on the lock. Lovely. Yeah. But now you're telling me there's been a murder there.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks for ruining the Anglers for me.
Sorry. So move to the next day. At 8:15 a.m., a man called George Costa discovered the body of a teenage girl floating face down in the Thames as he cycled to work. He immediately notified authorities, who instructed the Marine Policing Unit to retrieve the body, which was taken to Richmond Mortuary. Extensive injuries upon the body indicated that the victim had been violently murdered. A search of the vicinity revealed the girl had evidently been attacked approximately half a mile from the location of her discovery, at a location known locally as Lover's Glade. I never heard of that, have you?
No, have you Googled it?
No.
Lover's Glade, Teddington. I mean, we obviously don't have lovers, so that will be why.
Just to rub it in a bit more. So the site was approximately 400 yards from a lock with a secluded section of a secondary towpath, which runs parallel to the main towpath by the Thames and is surrounded by shrubbery, trees and bushes. At this location, 2 large pools of blood were discovered, in addition to numerous blood splatterings upon sections of shrubbery. It's a good word, that. And ample sections of churned soil, indicative of a ferocious physical struggle between the victim and her murderer. A forensic analysis, I know, a forensic analysis of the two pools of blood revealed one pool located closer to the center of the towpath to be type A and the other type O. So yeah, the victim in the river had type A blood. Furthermore, 2 pairs of women's shoes, one pair 2 sizes larger than the other, were recovered near a poplar tree 5 feet from the crime scene, indicating more than one victim.
Oh.
I know, it's grim.
So at first, when they found the 2 different blood types, they might have thought that one was the murderer. But then they,
Yeah.
yeah, but then they soon. Can we also just go back a minute and just because you said shrubbery, good word that.
Yeah.
Do you like the word shrubbery?
Yeah, I just like it. Is that weird?
It felt like a inappropriate time to stop you to ask you about that because you were talking about murder. But I wanted to come back to that. Okay, you like the word shrubbery. Good to know. Carry on.
It's just good to say. It's just good to say.
Great word, shrubbery. It's a great umbrella word for lots of different types of flora.
I mean, it's not as good as discombobulated, but it's a good one.
Well, yeah, they all have their purpose. Tell me more about the murders. So they now know that there's 2 victims, but they only have 1 body.
Yeah. They think there's 2 victims. And they don't know who it is. So they have no idea who this girl is. They obviously know she's a girl, but they don't know anything else about her.
Has they not been reported? I suppose they're kind of latchkey kids. We get the impression that they're out and about a lot. And so it might have taken a bit longer for their parents.
This was the next day. So they left where they were at 11 p.m. and then the 1 body was found at 8:15 a.m. the next day.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Also, so you're drinking water and I'm drinking a whole bottle of chocolate wine, but carry on.
Love it. The victim's autopsy was conducted by pathologist Keith Mant, who described the victim as brunette Caucasian female in her mid-teens and 5 foot, so she was small, and who had died approximately 8 hours prior to her discovery. She had received a deep laceration to her left cheek, which had fractured her cheekbone, in addition to 3 stab wounds to the back, each of which had punctured her lungs and had penetrated her body up to 9 inches in depth. So this was vicious. She'd also received a laceration to her scalp, a skull fracture, and numerous scratches and bruises on her legs, likely sustained as she fought her assailant. This theory was further supported by several fibers sourcing from a man's sports jacket recovered from beneath her fingernails. The girl had also been violently raped. The pathologist was also able to determine the weapon used to inflict the injuries to be a distinctive Gurkha knife with a double-edged 1-inch wide blade and a small hatchet, and that the perpetrator had likely been a man of unusual strength. So it's good. I think just like stopping for a minute there, bearing in mind this was the 50s, you know, this is obviously quite a decent pathologist.
Yeah, that's impressive amount of information.
Exactly. So Songhurst, so it was then found to be Songhurst, and her parents formally identified their daughter on the afternoon of her discovery. Her mother also informed police that she had last seen her daughter in the company of Christine Reed on Sunday morning, and she had assumed that her daughter had simply chosen to spend the night at Christine's house, but had expected her home that day as her daughter had been looking forward to the upcoming coronation of Elizabeth II.
As you do when you were 16 or 18.
Yeah. And she'd also entered a local bathing beauty contest in celebration of the occasion to be held the following evening.
To celebrate the coronation of a new queen, they're having a swimsuit pageant. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I know. The 50s. She had only learned her daughter was missing when she fell to sharp for work that morning, and had also discovered from Barbara's parents that their daughter was also missing. So yeah, it's all becoming a bit clearer. So as they had established Barbara's identity and learning that her close friend was also missing, this led to investigators to conclude that Christine had also likely been murdered. This conclusion was supported by the discovery of articles of Barbara's clothing alongside garments belonging to Christine at the site where two individuals had evidently been violently assaulted and murdered. As such, the decision was made to dredge a 3-mile section of the Thames between Teddington Lock and Richmond. And then they also opened the sluices, I think is that how you say it, at Teddington Lock on the 2nd of June. And they used an electromagnetic thing.
And a magnet.
Electromagnetic magnet. And they found her bicycle on the 2nd of June. It was about 100 yards from the site where the girls there had been attacked. A distinctive knife was also discovered on the riverbed, although it was later discovered that it wasn't anything to do with the case.
So I mean, imagine lots of people are hiding their shit in the river, aren't they?
Well, yeah, exactly. On the afternoon of 6th of June, so yeah, we're like a week later, a partially clothed body was found submerged close to Glover's Island, less than 1 mile from Richmond Bridge. Her autopsy revealed she had received 6 stab wounds to her back, 6 stab wounds to her chest, and 1 above her left wrist. One of those stab wounds pierced her lung, while 4 wounds to her chest had entered her heart. 4 deep laceration wounds were discovered on her skull, which had been fractured in 2 places, and like Songhurst, Reed had been violently raped.
I mean, these are fucking brutal. How does one person do that much damage?
Okay. I'll get onto that. There were loads of lacerations on her hands and bruises as she had attempted to defend herself. And then at that point, they realised that the injuries had been inflicted with a hatchet. So he used an axe.
Bless them, they were both fighters.
Yeah, exactly. So both these murders received a lot of media attention, and numerous television and radio appeals encouraged potential eyewitnesses or individuals with information to assist in the police manhunt. These appeals also were broadcast in all cinemas within 10-mile radius of Teddington Lock, and the individual assigned to the investigation was Detective Chief Inspector Herbert Hannam. Herbert, brilliant name.
I just thought to myself, I wonder if they made any appeals on Jackie Radio. Because Jackie Radio is our local radio, which is actually a really good radio station, isn't it? Do you ever listen to it?
I haven't. I need to check that out.
They're always playing like 90s stuff and everything. And it is obviously quite useful to have local news and local traffic stuff. I only ever listen to it in the car. So I just want to check, when did Jackie Radio start? 1969, after this case.
Yeah. I'm sure it would have, though, if they'd been around.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. They've advertised much smaller things.
This is, yeah, I can imagine. So I'm going to call him DCI Herbert.
Okay, DCI Herbert's on the case.
Yeah, he initially believed that the double murder had been committed by 2 men, because like you said, like, how did he overpower 2
and also
girls?
2 weapons for each of the girls, it seems.
Yeah. Right? I'll come on to that. But then he soon revised his opinion to conclude that they'd been committed by a single individual, but like one with a lot of strength. He also, I mean, this is only in the 50s that shit like this is going to come out, but he established, this is Herbert, established both girls had been responsible, family orientated and virtuous, and no enemies.
So basically they didn't deserve to die, whereas if they'd had sex with a man, we'd be talking about a different, right? They
deserve to get raped, Although both had enjoyed the company and attention of males, neither had been promiscuous, and both had been virgins prior to their rape. I mean, I'm not being funny, but after you've been brutally raped, there's literally no way you would ever know that somebody was virgin.
I can't imagine they would. Yeah.
How would you know that? Like, I mean, it doesn't it doesn't matter if they were or weren't, but you wouldn't know
No.
that anyway.
And what an irrelevant thing
I
to be
know,
focusing on.
I know.
Sorry, did you actually divert some of the investigation's resources and budget to finding out this stuff? Were they virtuous enough to investigate this properly?
Yeah. And I also
Anyways,
wonder because obviously it's, as I said at the beginning, they were from like so different social backgrounds. I just wonder if that had some, you know, the one with the better social background made a
yeah.
difference to this. I don't know.
I'm sure they
Who
were
knows?
fantastic. It's just that is irrelevant.
Exactly. Exactly. So obviously the police spoke to all of their friends and who they'd been with just before the murder, but they were very quickly eliminated. Even though one of them had frequently danced with the United States Air Force, all personnel at the base were questioned and eliminated. Anyway.
Okay, well, good that they're taking it seriously. They're obviously
Yeah, yeah,
questioning everyone that they came in contact with.
yeah. So over 1,600 individuals were questioned and eliminated throughout the inquiry. And also several known sex offenders were interrogated and eliminated. Both the time at which the murders occurred and both the time at which the murders had occurred and the somewhat secluded location of the crime scene led investigators to conclude the perpetrator was most likely either local or someone familiar with the local transport networks. And as both victims had been riding bicycles and the wounds to both were similar in nature, in addition to having been applied with considerable force, Herbert believed that the murderer had likely incapacitated one victim by either stunning her by throwing an axe at her head or torso as she cycled past him, and then rapidly overpowering the other victim, possibly by throwing a knife at her back.
I mean, this guy has attacked not one, but two women at the same time. I mean, that is ballsy in the
Yeah,
most disgusting way, isn't it? Because if
yeah,
one of them had got away,
yeah,
even if they didn't manage to save their friend's life, they would have been able to get help and,
yeah,
catch the guy. I don't know.
yeah.
Oof.
And what's also sad is that, remember I said about the courting couple, they they came forward as witnesses in the end, and they had heard a really high-pitched scream because they'd heard them all when they were with their friends, like laughing and joking, and then they'd heard this really high-pitched scream, but they didn't think anything of it. I know.
I mean,
So
can't blame them if they heard teenagers frolicking,
I know, but
you know.
God, you'd feel awful, wouldn't you? So this is a couple of weeks later, on the 12th of June. A 46-year-old woman was approached by a young man on a bicycle, asking for directions to the Holly Tree pub as she walked her dog in Windsor Great Park. As she attempted to describe directions, she was dragged into nearby undergrowth at knife point and sexually assaulted, although not raped.
Can we just say Windsor Great Park, like nearby, but not in the same area?
Yeah,
Like 15-minute drive away, let's say.
yeah. So as it says in the notes, the modus operandi, so the MO of this attack, had been similar to the rape of a 14-year-old girl in the Oxshott Heath and Woods on the 24th of May. So the schoolgirl had first been rendered semi-unconscious by a blow to the head from a flat edge of an axe-like instrument, with her assailant having crept upon her from behind. And she had also been walking a dog when she was attacked. Yeah.
It's also
And
ballsy, isn't it? Going for someone who's walking a dog.
yeah,
Because you don't know how
tiny
that
little
dog's
dog.
going to react. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Little chihuahua, although they're the
Mhm.
worst.
Mhm.
So, and again, in this case, the guy who did it had been riding a bike. So they had two, same things happening there. They basically, the police, when they looked at it, they couldn't discount that the cases were linked. And they started to think about the fact that this was potentially the same guy. And inquiries into the rape of the schoolgirl produced an eyewitness who had seen a young, dark-haired man wearing a brown leather gloves and blue overalls following a schoolgirl from a distance when she walks across the heath at approximately the time of the assault. Another witness had seen the man matching this description waiting for a bus close to Oxshott Heath and Woods shortly after the rape had occurred. And this individual had added the man had a cleft chin, and they put together a facial.
If anyone's wondering what a cleft chin is, it's this bum face.
Yeah, John Travolta style.
Black and Decker. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they made a facial composite of this guy, and this was extensively distributed throughout the media. So on the 17th of June, two builders spotted a man oh my God. On the 17th of June, two builders spotted a man matching this description sitting on a tree stump alongside a parked bicycle close to Oxshott railway station. And they both recognised this man as they had previously worked with him. This man was Alfred Charles Whiteway. He was briefly questioned by two policemen before undergoing formal questioning at Kingston Police Station, but was soon released as he was not considered to closely resemble the identikit of the suspect. On the 28th of June, he was arrested by Surrey Constabulary, can't say that word, and this arrest was in relation to the sexual assault he had committed in Windsor Great Park 16 days previously.
So he's being done for those rapes and attacks, potentially. Okay, yeah, I got you.
So both the victim of this sexual assault and the man who had seen a suspicious individual waiting for a bus positively identified Whiteway when asked to view identity parade. A search of his home revealed a pair of recently washed crepe-soled shoes, which he admitted to habitually wearing, and forensic testing revealed human blood in the seam and eyelets of the right shoe.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So in the 50s, they could identify and differentiate between human blood and animal blood.
So Whiteway was remanded in custody in relation to both sex attacks on the 1st of July, having admitted to robbing one victim, but denying any involvement in either of the sexual assaults. And his wife corroborated his alibi for the date of the murders. Upon learning of these developments and the fact the 21-year-old labourer and father of one had recently separated from his pregnant wife, and that he was a bodybuilding enthusiast, he was also known to practice knife throwing as a hobby, had been questioned by the police in the previous year relating to a physical assault upon young women who he'd struck across the head with a section of lead pipe, and lived at the address less than 1 mile from the scene of the murders. Old Herbert chose to question him with regards to his whereabouts on the 31st of May.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, there's a lot there, right? You know, he's like, his wife corroborated his alibi, but then they found out that actually they were separating. He was a bodybuilding enthusiast. He was knife throwing and had already been done for physical assault
on young women by hitting them.
Yeah. So not.
I mean, if you were dating the guy, you'd be like, "There's some red flags."
Just a few.
If you're us, we'd be like, "But I'm gonna ignore them."
Yeah.
But anyways,
so Whiteway was remanded in custody at HM Prison Brixton, and then was questioned by DCI Herbert in relation to both sexual assaults and the Towpath murders. On this occasion, he gradually admitted responsibility for the sexual assaults, but denied any responsibility for the murders. Although he admitted to having known Barbara Songhurst and her family.
How old is he?
21.
Why does he? Oh, okay. I was going to say, why does he know this teenage girl? But yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, that's why. In reference to his movements on the afternoon of the 31st of May, he stated that as he had typically done most nights, since their amicable recent separation due to their difficulty in finding a household, he had spent the afternoon in the company of his wife and baby daughter from approximately 7:30 to 11:30. On the date in question, he and his wife had visited Hanbury Gardens before returning to her parents in Kingston, where he drank a cup of tea on the doorstep before cycling alone to his parents' Teddington home, via Kingston Bridge, arriving just before midnight. So he said in his interview with old DCI Herbert, he could pinpoint the actual time of his retiring to bed as the early hours of 1st of June, as he had to adjust his slow clock.
To be fair, I think that's something people had to do more often in the 50s.
True.
Because you had to wind your clocks and stuff, didn't you? So
yeah, but he would so be like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes total sense. Yes, we'll release you straight away because you told us what time you went to bed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very convenient.
So when he was questioned with regards to an earlier admission he owned a small axe, he first claimed that the tool was in a cupboard of his wife's parents' home before admitting he had discreetly hidden it in his overalls before placing it in the driver's seat of a police car following his 17th of June arrest and questioning at Kingston Police Station. So he'd hidden it in a police... I mean, that's a little bit genius, to be fair.
It is. I mean, it's not that weird, again, at that time, in that era, to have an axe, because lots of people had log fires and whatnot.
True.
But for some reason, he's decided to take this axe that he's owned and hide it in a police car. Is that what's happened?
Yep.
Did the police not go, where did this axe come from?
I mean, they didn't find it until they went looking for it.
What?
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Prior to... Actually, I might have just got that a little bit wrong, so you might have to edit that bit out.
No, it was funny. I'm leaving it in.
Of course.
Well, look, either they didn't find an axe in a fucking car for ages, or they did find an axe and they didn't query where it came from.
Oh, look, there's an axe.
Oh, blood on it.
Yeah, exactly. So
bizarre.
Prior to this admission, a Kingston police officer named Arthur Kosh. I mean, it's you know,
great name for a police officer.
So he did discover it before. So he discovered a small axe concealed beneath the driver's seat of a police car while cleaning the vehicle on the morning of 18th June. So to be fair, he did find it the next day.
Okay.
As no member of public had inquired about the tool for several days, he had taken it home and used it to chop wood.
Good little axe, that. Yeah.
Yep. Sorry. Fucking batshit. He then, upon learning of the item's significance in relation to a murder investigation,
a double murder investigation, yes.
He then presented it to good old Herbert. So a forensic examination of the tool yielded no physical evidence linking the item to Whiteway.
Because it's fucking been used by Kosh.
Kosh had koshed it.
He koshed it. Kosh.
But the axe dimensions perfectly match the wounds inflicted to both murder victims. So on 30th of July, so we've moved on another month, old Herbert interviewed Whiteway again. And on this occasion, he presented this axe to him. According to Herbert, upon viewing the axe, Whiteway almost immediately stated, "Blimey, that's it. It was sharp when I did it. I sharpened it with a file." He then elaborated, "It's all over. You know well I done it, eh? My shoe buggered me. I'm mental. I must have a fucking woman. I can't stop myself."
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. It's just you trying to not be very posh with your voice.
Cool, blimey, governor.
You got to pick a pocket or two, Emma.
Fuck off. Cool, blimey. Oh my God, I'm going to get rinsed so badly.
That's a reel in itself. But anyways, yeah.
You absolutely know who's going to rinse me for that as well, don't you?
Yes, everyone. But also, can we just say, what an asshole? Okay, so but if there's a plus side, so he's basically confessing now, right?
I don't understand how his shoe buggered him. Like, that doesn't make sense to me at
I don't
all.
know. Did he leave footprints? Wait, didn't he wash his shoes that he regularly used? And they'd asked him about
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're so
Hmm.
right. Sorry. Yeah, I missed that bit. I was like, but why? I was like, in my mind, why would an axe make you think of a shoe?
So I think he's clearly got to a point where he's realized, okay, they've got enough evidence against me, don't they? I'm fucked.
Yeah, that's true. So in his account, he went on to say that he'd only initially seen one cyclist who he bashed about the head and she went down like a log. He then heard another female who he had not seen scream out by the lock before approaching her and shutting her up with his weapons.
Oh, God.
I know. And obviously, when he said that he knew Barbara Songhurst, he was telling the truth about that, because he had known their family, so he knew that she would be able to identify him as having just attacked her friend.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah,
awful. I mean, I
and
imagine in the
he,
50s it was very community around here, and so it does
yeah,
make sense that people would know each other.
yeah, exactly. And he said that it would not have turned into murder had she not have been able to identify him.
He wouldn't have murdered her, but what about her mate?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
So on the 20th of August, so it moved quite quick, which is
Hmm.
good. There was initial pre-trial hearing relating to his culpability in relation to the murders. And this resulted in him being remanded in custody until the 27th of August. He was charged with both murders on the 18th of September. And when asked if he wanted to speak at his committal hearing, he said, "I have denied the charges." Before his solicitor informed the court his client intended to reserve his right to defend himself at a later date. So his blood type was determined to be the same as Christine Reed's, and this was greater evidence to connect him with the murder of Barbara Songhurst.
Mm.
And then the Crown subsequently opted for him to be tried solely for her murder because they could link him exactly to Barbara rather than
Yeah.
Christine.
I guess if they felt like they didn't have enough evidence for the other one
Yeah,
to actually get a conviction, let's just put all our
exactly.
efforts. Yeah.
Exactly.
Was there
So,
still the death penalty in the UK in this time? Okay,
yes,
we'll come to this, I presume.
yeah. So he was brought to trial at the Old Bailey for the murder of Barbara Songhurst on the 26th of October, 1953. And he was tried before Mr. Justice Hilbery. In his
That means
opening
he's a
statement,
judge.
yes.
Hmm.
So, in his opening statement, his lawyer stated that the prosecution intended to prove he had committed Songhurst's murder, but they did not need to prove his motive as to why. The defense outlined in their opening statement by claiming that he had an alibi account. Sorry, you will need to edit that bit out.
He did not have an
But
alibi?
no, I just got them the wrong way around. So, in his opening statement to the jury for the prosecution, he's sorry.
Sorry.
In
I'm
his
a good
opening
little
statement,
editor. Sorry. Oh no, it's my fault. I fucked that.
that's all right. In his opening statement to the jury, Humphrey stated that the prosecution intended to prove that Whiteway had committed Songhurst's murder, and they didn't need to prove his motive as to why. So then Whiteway's lawyer outlined that in their opening statement by claiming that he had an alibi accounting for his whereabouts at the time the murders were committed. And much of the evidence produced by the prosecution had been fabricated by the police. So the primary evidence against Whiteway was his alleged signed confession, which was introduced into evidence in the opening days of the trial, and which DCI Herbert testified unlocks the whole crime.
Is this the, oh, governor, I did the
Yeah,
murder? That
yeah,
one.
my amazing,
Yeah.
Cockney. Herbert testified as to both the circumstances surrounding the obtaining of the confession and the actual comments, also alleging that Whiteway had said to him he would later claim his confession was all lies. And then upon cross-examination, DCI Herbert's testimony pertaining to Whiteway's expletive-laden confession and police investigative procedures was subject to intense security and criticism by Whiteway's lawyer. Over the course of 2 days, the lawyer successfully outlined several discrepancies and inaccuracies in DCI Herbert's accounts, including official records of interviews in which Whiteway had told police he did not know what he was actually being asked to sign when instructed to add his signature to the alleged confessions, before suggesting to the jury police had willfully fictionalized and manipulated his client's signed confession. In direct reference to Herbert's claims to the contrary, and which Herbert stated he was pleased to deny, the lawyer alleged that Herbert was ultimately swearing away Whiteway's life.
Oh,
I know.
is that just, did he do it or not? Tell me, did he do it or not?
I'm nearly there.
Okay.
So the physical evidence introduced into evidence included the axe used in the commission of the murders. Remember the old pathologist, the good pathologist, he testified that the laceration wound to Barbara's cheek was consistent with having been inflicted by the axe of the size of the one that was in evidence. He also testified the dimensions of the flat edge of the weapon also perfectly matched the fractures inflicted on her skull, before stating one of the stab wounds inflicted to her back would almost all immediately have been fatal. Then they also had another witness of a police laboratory, and he said that he had discovered traces of human blood upon the shoe belonging to Whiteway.
The shoes did fuck him!
Yeah, they did. He also testified a positive reaction was strongest around the stitching of the sole and the stitching of the eyelets, indicating the shoe had either been washed or rubbed upon extremely wet grass.
That's it. There was blood on the shoe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get back to good old Kosh. He also testified in the court
that it was a very good axe that he used around his house for weeks and months.
I'm really gutted that I don't have this axe anymore.
Can I have it back after this case wraps up?
When he was asked to explain his actions, he replied, "The practice among drivers is that anything found in the car is claimed by the driver finding it. When asked if he had discovered..."
That's a bad policy.
I know.
For a police car?
Yeah.
By driver, you mean police officer in a police car?
Okay. Yeah. So when asked if he had discovered a gemmy hidden in the car, would he have taken the item home? Kosh replied, no.
A what?
Gemmy. So I think anything of like real value, if they discovered like money or gems or anything like that, he said no. But an axe is fine. Something that's likely to have been a murder weapon, that was fine. He was also subjected to intense cross-examination by
Good. He deserves it.
Yeah. Who poured scorn on all of his claims regarding his discovery of the axe and subsequent actions, culminating in his bringing the item to investigators after Whiteway's arrest, and at a time when police were unable to locate the murder weapon. Midway through his questioning, Kosh fainted.
What? Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Did he just do a Victorian woman like, oh, I can't cope?
Yeah.
My hysteria, I'm having the vapors.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Whiteway's wife also testified that her husband had been drinking tea on their porch at their home at approximately 11:30 p.m. I mean, dude, you're not going to sleep after drinking tea at 11:30, are you?
What I mean, did they have decaf in the 50s? Sorry, wait, this is something else I'm Googling. Just bear with me. Did they have decaf tea in the 50s?
I'm guessing not.
Okay, hang on. When was decaf tea invented? Tell me the answer. To be fair, 1905. It's possible. It's possible he was drinking decaf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, she also added that her parents, who had made no secret of their dislike of Whiteway, had refused to allow him into their home. So that's obviously why he was drinking tea on the porch.
I mean, that's not a fucking endorsement for him.
No,
That
don't
his
forget they were separated.
No, I know, but also he's like father of the child they have together.
Yeah, true.
It
Um,
at the very least shows that there's not a lot of good shit going on between the family members there.
no. Um, then his uncle came to the stand and he stated that Whiteway had returned home at 11:30 by his clock, which had been 10 or 15 minutes slow. Also to testify, I mean, it's a lot on this clock, was his sister, who agreed a similar weapon had been stored beneath a cupboard in their parents' home and typically used to chop firewood, although she insisted the item had been missing for 5 or 6 weeks at the time the police first questioned her.
Again, it doesn't seem like an endorsement for her brother.
No.
Okay.
Whiteway himself gave evidence in his defense, and he denied to having ever confessed to the murders and insisted he had only applied his signature to one caution. He further denied DCI Herbert's allegation that he had been shocked and trembling when informed of the investigators having discovered traces of blood upon one of his shoes. Oh, my shoes buggered me.
Yeah.
And emphasized he did not know the actual text content of the sole document he had signed, only that he had been told to sign it. When questioned as to the bloodstains upon his shoes, he insisted he had cut himself while shaving 3 weeks before the murders and had also cut himself in his employment as a labourer at approximately the same time. He'd said that DCI Herbert pressed him on these claims, although Whiteway admitted he could not account for how the blood actually got there. So, yeah, whatever.
I mean, very convenient. Oh, yeah, that week. That's the week I cut myself twice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, in his closing arguments to the jury, he basically, the prosecution referenced the confessions given by Whiteway upon learning of the police's mounting evidence against him. And he also described the defence's contention police had obtained these confessions via deceit or forgery as the most tremendous attack of this nature ever made within a British court. In reference to the actual motives for the murders, he alleged that Whiteway had chosen to murder his victim to prevent her from identifying him as her assailant, stating, "He is raping these girls. His face is inches from theirs. Barbara might have known his face. He has to kill her, otherwise she is going to say it was Alfie Whiteway who raped me last night." So the defense said that the actual perpetrator had been a lone male on foot who had been seen by several witnesses loitering in the vicinity of the murders before their commission. He also emphasized that Barbara's bicycle had never been found and that, as corroborated by family members, Whiteway had been riding his own bicycle on that afternoon and evening of the murders. And as such, the actual perpetrator must have fled the scene on Barbara's bike. In
Why?
reference...
Why? They could have done exactly what they did with the other bike, throw it in the Thames for it not to be found, or done anything else with it.
Exactly.
He's got a bike, so he can't be the murderer. Fucking bonkers.
Clutching at straws, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, in reference to the time the murders had occurred, the defense, stressed that most eyewitnesses relied on memory as to the time the girls had last been seen alive and a brief high-pitched scream that had been heard. He speculated that the murders may possibly have occurred as late as 1 a.m. when, as corroborated by several individuals, his family members, he was at home.
So they think that the girls left. They were playing kiss chase with these boys, and what time did they leave?
11.
And so the defense were trying to say, oh yeah, but they could have been cycling up and down the towpath for like 2 hours before they went home. Those girls are not doing that. They're heading straight home. It's going to be fucking late and cold and dark.
Exactly. Or that basically everybody who they were with got their timings wrong and the couple who had seen them got their timings wrong, but the uncle and the wife and the sister
Of the
absolutely
actual accused person. Yeah. Okay.
hadn't got their timings wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Even though their
Um,
clocks didn't work, but they were allowing for that and adjusting for that. In yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Exactly. The prosecution then went on to reference the autopsy report, and he stated that the pathologist could only estimate that she had died 8 hours before. So yeah, it's just trying to screw up with the timings, basically.
Yeah.
In discussing the savagery,
Shrubbery, not the shrubbery, the savagery. Okay.
The prosecution referenced the fact that no bloodstains had been discovered on any of Whiteway's clothes, save for one shoe, which his client had stated sourced from either his shaving or his labour job. Because I think obviously he's the same blood type, so they wouldn't have had DNA then either. So he discussed the circumstances surrounding the acts presented in evidence against the client, and he said it had conveniently and dubiously been discovered at a time when police desperately sought one or both of the murder weapons. And his client's alleged confession, which again they said was fabricated. Sorry, Mabel is really snoring loud.
I can't hear her at all. But also, how that would have played out so much differently if Officer Kosh or whatever had just logged this axe that he found in his car.
I mean, I can see where the defense are going. Like, it's convenient timing, right? It's
and it's
all of a sudden
handling evidence. You're losing the chain of command. All sorts of things that are just not right in that. I totally get it.
Yeah, exactly. So the jury retired to consider their verdicts on the afternoon of the 2nd of November. They deliberated for 48 minutes before announcing that they had reached their verdict. Whiteway was found guilty of Songhurst murder. Apparently, he closed his eyes and swayed slightly as the sentence was passed, and then left the courtroom in silence.
So he took it better than Kosh took his interrogation.
Yeah,
he didn't faint.
No. After he left the dock, Judge Hilbury ordered that charges against Whiteway for the murder of Christine Reed and the 2 separate charges of rape and assault with attempt to rape and robbery remained on his file. So they couldn't charge him with it, but they knew he did it, basically.
Yeah.
Whiteway then went on to appeal his sentence. His appeal contended that the trial judge had wrongly permitted the fact that he had previously been arrested upon a charge of attempting to rape a 15-year-old girl to be introduced into evidence at his trial. The appeal was heard by Lord Chief Justice, Lord Goddard, Mr. Justice Sellers, and Mr. Justice Barry on the 7th of December, but was rejected the same day, with Lord Goddard describing the case as one of the most brutal and horrifying crimes he had encountered in many years of service, and directly quoting section of Whiteway's confession upon announcing the upholding of the sentence. Upon hearing the rejection of her husband's appeal, Whiteway's 18-year-old wife...
He's only 21. He's only 21.
I know, but...
Still young. Well. Yeah, oh yeah.
Burst into tears and had to be assisted from the courtroom. Alfred Whiteway was hanged at Wandsworth Prison on the 22nd of December 1953.
See, they do these executions fast, don't they? It's not like today in the States where it's like you're on death row for 20 years. It's like you're sentenced to death, you're dying in months.
Yeah, the murder happened on the 31st of May, or murders happened on 31st of May. He was executed on the 22nd of December. I don't even think that would happen now. Like, I don't think that they go through that quickly.
I mean, I get that they want to have enough time for appeals and this, that, and the other, but we've talked about this before, how it must be a special kind of torture being not only in prison, but on death row.
Yeah. Yeah. Waiting for your death.
Mm-hmm.
One of Whiteway's last action in life prior to walking to the gallows was to send a Christmas card to his wife and infant daughters.
That's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad. I mean, the kids have that
Yeah.
as their history.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that's my nearby case.
I have no idea. And knowing what this area is like, I think they might have just very conveniently just swept that under the carpet a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's awful.
I know. The brutality of it just,
Next time we're at the Anglers, we are going to have a little drink for them.
mhm,
We're going to raise a glass for them.
poor little girls
Oh,
had their whole lives ahead of them.
so young, exactly. That's just fucking terrifying and so
I know.
local. I don't like that at
I
all.
know. I know.
Want to lighten the mood?
Hell yeah, please.
Well, I haven't read the responses, so as always, it may not lighten the mood. It might depress us further, but it'll be on a different topic. So,
Is this dating or Trump?
we have dating advice, Emma.
Yay!
We have not one, but two people who want to assist us.
Fantastic.
Isn't that
Can I just
amazing?
can I clarify there? Because I know in the Trump episode, you asked people to say anything positive.
Yeah,
So
no
I'm
one's.
assuming you no one's had it.
What the fuck are they going to say? We gave them a chance. Also, I imagine we don't have very many Trump supporters in our listenership. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, true. True.
Yeah, so maybe we were appealing in the wrong place. All right, so but do you remember in that episode, the Trump episode, that we had an application to date, both of us, from Gray, our dear friend Gray,
Yeah.
who by the time this episode comes out will have come to see us at our Christmas event at the Brewery
Yay.
Market. Also, we have worked out an amazing schedule of events at the Brewery Market for next year. So we've got our alternative Valentine's Day event already in the diary. You can probably buy tickets already. Have a look on our website and in our links and everything. But yeah, we've got just so many fabulous events. Valentine's Day event is called Fatal Attractions.
Nice.
All right, so Gray will have already, at the point of this coming out, have been to our Christmas event. So hopefully we impressed him and he'll be coming back. But he has given us advice, which how do I feel about someone applying to date us and then also giving us dating advice at the same time? I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea or highly offensive, but we'll take it. He says, "Hello, ladies. Was thinking of advice, but that seems a lot of work." Ouch.
I mean, we are also a lot of work.
Yeah,
just putting it out there.
That we've known him for so little time and he's already picked up on that is really quite something. But he says, then it hit me. Let AI do the hard work so you don't have to. Yes. My thinking is that you both type your personalities, turn-ons, turn-offs, likes and dislikes into a friendly digital soothsayer, Chat GPT, and let it come up with what you should expect for a perfect date. There is really no need to set the bar yourself. Also, if you don't get an answer you like, you can just blame China or Russia. You're welcome. Great. I actually love this.
I think I want to try this.
We're going to do this before next time. We are going to type up a little. I think we should include there some of the things we don't like in our past relationships that we've had, things we want for the future, et cetera, and how we should go about this dating malarkey. Okay? And we'll report back. That'd be fucking awesome. All right. And then we have, I'm so excited about this because do you remember a couple episodes ago, I did a call out. I was like, where the fuck are all our People's Pulse people? All of our Karens and everything, Susie, why are they not applying to date us or give us advice? Well, Coventry Karen, she's come through. Bless her. Love you, Coventry Karen. I hope you're doing okay. Okay, well, I say she's given us dating advice. I'm gonna say it's more like sympathy
Ah, okay.
from someone in a very similar position to us most of her life. She says, I don't really have any advice as I was always terrible at dating. Someone could march up to me wearing a costume made entirely of red flags, and I still wouldn't notice and think they were the best thing since avocado on toast.
I feel ya.
Oh, yeah.
I feel ya.
Your friends will be able to spot a wrong and a mile off, so hopefully they'll be able to help you out. Also, I didn't meet my soulmate until I was 39. We're considerably
Older
older.
than that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I'm more older than you on that, but yeah.
she says I dated a lot of absolute psychos in that time. You're my spirit animal. So look out for each other and trust your spidey senses.
Good
Can we?
advice.
Yeah,
Very good
okay.
advice.
That's adorable. Thank you, Karen from Coventry. We're really, really happy to have you back on the scene. You can apply to date us if you want. Coventry
Yep.
Karen. We would totally give you a high score because we already know we love you. Ugh, chocolate wine went down the wrong way. Emma.
Have some more. Oh, you have literally drunk the whole bottle. Brilliant.
All right. Well, Gray, Coventry Karen, thank you so much. That made us laugh. I don't know if it actually helped. We will definitely do our AI homework, won't we, Emma?
Yes, I'm interested to see that.
I'm going to ask AI where we can meet our men, what we should expect, and how we should handle every situation.
Yeah.
Did I read somewhere that one of the dating platforms is actually gonna send a virtual you and a virtual potential match on an AI date? So your
Oh
little
my God.
avatars are basically going to go on a little date to assess how compatible you are. If your little AI avatar, whatever you want to call it, if they get along, then the platform will match you to go on a date with the actual human.
I mean,
It's terrifying and yet also
yeah,
super efficient.
yeah. I just don't see how that would work.
Also, I would love to watch that show.
Yeah.
People's AI avatars going on dates.
That's a good dating show right there.
All right, that appeals to me.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I love you, Emma.
Love
Next
you.
week, I'm going to be telling you about a story, and because it's going to be the Christmas week, it's going to be a good one, but it's also going to be not horrendously grim.
Okay.
No, that's a lie. It will be very grim, but it will be a long time ago, so it'll
Okay.
feel less grim.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I love you. I love our sexy listeners. Do you love our sexy listeners?
Absolutely.
They're so good. I always told you how good they were, and now you
Yeah.
know. Now
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
They are
Love you all.
awesome. Love
Bye.
you.
Bye. Love you. Bye.
Bye.